Song Revolution with John Chisholm on the NRT Podcast Network.
Hey everybody, John here. Welcome to Song Revolution. You know, you're why we do this show. We're almost at 170 episodes and about 170,000 downloads over the last 5 years. And it's just been such a privilege to bring the knowledge and the experience that I've been privileged to have over my 40-year career to you so that you can fulfill your passionate calling. You're why we do this. So I want to talk today about 5 ways to make more time for your songwriting. And that's one of the major complaints that I hear from aspiring songwriters. And I know we're all busy. It's very difficult to find the time in any given day to write, to express ourselves, to be creative, and to take steps toward fulfilling this call, even just in simple writing. And so I want to share with you 5 ways that I think might help you in 2023 to make more time every day for your creativity. But before we get to that, I want to thank the fine folks here at Gnome Studios for allowing us to be here today. So these guys are great. They have a great little cozy studio near downtown Nashville. And so a big shout out to Gnome Studios, and just want to thank you guys for letting us be here today to do some recording for Song Revolution. The other folks that I want to thank are my great friends over at Music City Acoustics. These guys are great. And I have a podcast studio in my office. I call it the Chiz Pod. And these guys really tricked it out. My sound reinforcement is phenomenal. And if you have a home studio or you work at a church, you're a sound person at church or a worship leader, you know what a beast sound can be. Just kind of the echo and reverb and all the acoustical problems that you have in any kind of space. And so these guys, they came in and they just gave me a CAD drawing of what it was going to take to reinforce my studio, and it sounds so phenomenal. And if you deal with a home studio or a church situation, or you have a noisy Winnebago, you know that slap is such a problem. You know, when you clap your hands and you hear it about 17 times around the room, it makes it so much easier when you get rid of that sound problem. So I recommend to you my fine friends over at Music City Acoustics. So we're going into a whole new year. We're on the cusp of 2023, and I wanted to just jump on here and share with you some things that I hope will make 2023 your breakthrough year for your songwriting. I mean, think about it. You feel this passion in your heart, but the practicality of it can just seem so hard sometimes. You need a process. You need the time. I don't believe you need inspiration. I think anybody that knows Jesus in an intimate way or realizes the presence of the Holy Spirit in your life, I feel like you've got all the inspiration you need. I just feel like it's now a matter of discovering your successful song process, along with just kind of getting serious about the way that you're investing your time. So I wanted to share with you just real quickly 5, I don't like hacks, but we'll call them hacks, 5 ways, insights that you can make more time every day in 2023 for your songwriting, because I know you feel it. I know you feel passionate about it. So let's take that passion and let's become more practical with it and get some results. Does that sound good? All right, so the first way, these are easy things. These aren't things that people are going to struggle with. You can do this. The first thing is just to take an easy inventory of how you invest your time each day. I mean, the truth is, a whole year can go by and you can be sitting right where you are right now in your songwriting expertise and experience, or you can learn something, grow every single day, every week, every month, and be in a whole different place next year. So let's make next year really, really count. And this is the first thing that I recommend, is to take a little bit of an inventory. I just call it an easy inventory. Get a piece of paper and just jot down morning, afternoon, and evening, and just do bullet points. Just list some activities that you're engaged in. Now, of course, you get up in the morning, brush teeth, go to the bathroom, do the shower, go to work, all those kinds of things. But there are a lot of moments in between that you could be utilizing. So just take an easy inventory of how your day is spent. if you're not working a 9 to 5 job, I think it's even more important because you're going to have a huge chunks of time where you're not really engaged in anything. You might be watching TV, listening to a great podcast, or doing some other things, but the real key is just to become aware, a little bit more aware. So sit down and think of all the ways that you are spending your seconds each and every day. But make it easy. Don't make it a hard thing for yourself, but just become a little more aware of how you're really spending your day. I've been on several different diets in my life, trying to lose a few pounds here and there. And one of the ways that we've approached that is just by writing down everything we eat. And then at the end of the day, the end of the week, kind of just looking at the reality of what we're doing with our food intake. And this is kind of the same kind of inventory with your time investment, because every moment is an investment, whether it's sitting on the couch eating Cheetos and watching Netflix, or investing in yourself and in your potential audience. So just take that easy inventory and be gentle with yourself. Don't beat yourself up, but ask yourself, on paper, how am I spending each and every day? Number 2 is to write in micro bursts instead of waiting for longer periods to write. And I don't know if you're like me, but it's so easy to say, well, I'm going to spend half a day on Saturday writing and then kind of neglect it through the week. Saturday comes, the lawn needs to be taken care of, the car needs to be washed, the kids have to go to soccer. There's all kinds of things that take the place of your discipline in creativity and in songwriting. One of my favorite books is called The Artist Way by Julia Cameron. It's an older book now. I don't know, it's 20, 25 years old. It's a classic. I really recommend it because it really talks about the creative lifestyle. And one of the things that Julia recommended was to really have a set time and place every single day to write. Now, that might not be practical for you. And so what I encourage the writers I work with to do is to write in micro bursts. Maybe you've got 5 minutes before the eggs have boiled, or maybe you've got 10 minutes on the way to the soccer field to pick up the kids, or maybe you've got a half an hour after dinner before you get with friends. I guarantee you there are dozens of micro burst kinds of moments in your day. And so if you're constantly thinking about your songs, mulling over whatever you feel God's speaking to you in the moment, and then you capture those things in your phone. It's just so easy to capture. Sitting in the car in the parking lot before you go into work and you're getting an idea, be sure to capture that in micro bursts. And then at the end of the week, you can always come back around and pull all of those ideas together when you do have longer periods of time. Longer periods of time are great, and I think that they're necessary eventually, but why let all of the creativity that you feel every single day dissipate? Keep a pad and a pen by the bed when you have that massive, crazy spiritual dream in the night and you're getting the next big Carrie Job song. Be sure to write it down. Don't lose those ideas. But think about writing in microbursts. And then the next thing is use transitional moments to think about your messaging. And this kind of falls on the heels of writing in microburst. I think that sometimes we get myopic when it comes to our songs, and we get into a zone where we forget that we bring all that we are to our songwriting. And if we understand our core mission in songwriting, then we can begin to think about the messaging. When you put things out on Facebook, just or Instagram or TikTok, you're telling the world a whole lot about yourself, right? And so as you're driving the kids or doing whatever it is you do, think about your messaging. There's a wonderful producer here in town named Sal Oliveri, and he's worked with a long string of very, very famous people, and he's a good friend of ours. And I love something that Sal says. He says, you are responsible for how you present yourself to the world. And so think about your songwriting overall right now, okay? What kind of messages are you really sending out? Are you really working hard at connecting people to Jesus as an evangelist? Are you more of a pastor teacher like I am, where you're kind of leaving breadcrumbs, hoping people will be nurtured and follow into a deeper relationship with Christ? Or are you more of a deep worshiper and you really want to write worship songs? Well, how is that being reflected in your everyday life, in the messaging that you're doing for yourself, your family, all the social media, all of that? And so spend some time, even if it's 5 minutes, asking yourself, what is the message of my life? And how is that coming across in everything that I'm doing? So that's number 3. Number 4, use casual listening time to shape your songs. And one of the things that I teach in our mastery programs is how to think and listen critically. I ruin people on how they listen to music because what I want you to do is understand what's happening behind the curtain in songwriting. And that's the things that we download to you in our programs is we help you think like a professional songwriter. At the end of our 8-week program, you will be thinking like a pro songwriter because you've learned what it really takes. We unpack that whole system for you so that you then can begin to take all of those principles and insights in and then bring them out in your songwriting. And so the principle here is really just to use your listening time instead of driving down the road and you've got music on, but you're thinking about everything else. You're thinking about your checkbook or your kids or your spouse or wishing you had kids and a spouse, but you're spending that listening time thinking about something else. But I guarantee you, if you start asking yourself the right questions as you're listening to songs on the radio for King and Country, whether you're listening to country music, Carrie Underwood, all those people, lost names there, Luke Bryant, and all those folks, or you're listening strictly to Christian music, Lauren Daigle, Andrew Peterson, as if you will just begin to ask yourself, how did they do that? Where did they put that hook that keeps repeating? And begin to dissect, thinking critically about what they've done with their songs so that you can then go repeat that. You can take those principles and understand, okay, this is what I'm going to have to do if I'm going to reach a larger audience. So rather than, the whole principle here is rather than just listening casually, listen critically. Now that doesn't mean with a mean judgmental spirit. That means just dissect, begin to understand what these folks are doing in their songwriting so that you can do that as well. And then finally, number 5 is to set aside at least 1 hour each week to bring it all together. I kind of alluded to that earlier as we write in microbursts, as we listen critically, as we think about our messaging, as we begin to prioritize our songwriting and making a little more time as we do our inventory, then to bring it all together. And I know for me, there are plenty of times that I get an inspiration, a moment of insight. I hear a title or think of something that I want to write about, but I just don't have enough time to sit down and spend 2 or 3 hours on a Monday or a Tuesday working it through. But if I will capture those inspirations, if I will capture the hook that I'm listening or hearing in my head and sing a little melody on my cell phone or whatever it is I can do on a daily basis, and then as I'm listening, thinking, okay, the song that's on my mind right now could fall in this genre, could have this kind of a form, could be in the same lineup as Lauren Daigle or any of the artists that we know and love, right? To think about where my messaging fits in all that, and then to take some dedicated time on Saturday or Sunday or whenever I've got it to really pull that together and work through my process to a finished song. We all have the same amount of hours in the day. We all have the same amount of seconds and minutes and hours, and God just gave us all that same amount. And so what's going to set you apart in 2023 is if you dedicate yourself to spending even a little bit more time every day accomplishing something rather than just stewing in the desire. Your desire is great. It's a great place to start, but you've got to put feet on those prayers. You've got to really get up and go do something with the gifts and talents that God has afforded to you. Matthew 25, it is just a critical scripture for me because I look at what we do as kingdom business. This is about fulfilling a true calling. This isn't about, hey, I'm going to be in the music business. It's not really about the business for me. It's about stewarding our gifts to the point that we find success. So for me, this whole songwriting thing isn't about the glitz and glamour of the music business. It's really about fulfilling a true calling. And that's why we offer programs to come alongside you and help you take not only the spiritual and inspirational steps, you've got that, but to take the practical steps that will help you walk in to the best songwriting of your whole life. So go ahead and check out the links in the description and the show notes and just investigate, check it out. We've got a free discovery call waiting for you to see if our NCS Pro Song Mastery program is right for you. I think it's right for everybody, but you get the information, connect with us. We're very nice people. We just want to walk with you as you fulfill your calling in 2023. We'll see you next time.
Hey, thanks for joining us on the show today. I hope that you'll jump over to NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com and check out all the resources there to encourage you in your own songwriting. And if you like what we're doing, why not share this episode out on your socials? You can find the link in the show notes. We'll see you next time.